So, spoilers ahead for Transformers Rise of the Beasts. I actually quite liked the first Transformers movie back in 2007, and I think a lot of people did. It had a decent blend of humour, action, and character moments, and Michael Bay's signature directing style suited that film, I think. It was a big, loud, enjoyable popcorn summer action movie. But subsequent films failed to recapture whatever all-spark the first film had, and many Transformers fans also didn't like the design aesthetic of the Autobots, especially in the latter films, Age of Extinction and The Last Knight, preferring instead a return to the stylings of the cartoons, which I think Rise of the Beasts has successfully captured. This latest film was directed by Stephen Caple Jr. Michael Bay does serve as one of several producers on the movie, and it stars Anthony Ramos and Dominique Fishback as the two main human characters of Noah Diaz and Elena Wallace. The Transformers are played, of course, by Peter Cullen as Optimus Prime, Ron Perlman as Optimus Primal, Peter Dinklage as Scourge, and Michelle Yeoh as Erzor, and Pete Davidson as Mirage. The story concerns a new planet-eating supervillain by the name of Unicron, who attacked the homeworld of the Maximals to not only consume the planet, but to steal a crucial piece of Maximal technology, a transwarp key. I'm getting my franchises mixed up there. It's a MacGuffin, not a MacGuffin, a contrived plot device. It's a powerful piece of technology that allows the user to open portals in space and time. The Maximals, led by Optimus Primal, escape the planet and head to Earth, while their former leader, Apelink, gives his life to hold off Unicron's primary henchman, Scourge. The Maximals' world is destroyed by Unicron. So we move forward to New York City in 1994, and we're introduced to the main character of Noah, a likeable everyman type character trying to support his family. He's an ex-military electronics engineer. He's looking for a job. Elena works at a museum, and she finds an artifact with some Transformers-looking symbols on it. She accidentally opens it, and inside is something very mysterious and glowy. It's a piece of the transwarp key. It sends out a big energy beam, which only Autobots can see. Humans can't see it. It goes up into the sky. Optimus Prime sees it, and it just so happens that when Prime calls for all the Autobots to assemble, Noah just happened to steal a Porsche that conveniently is in fact an Autobot. And you can see how this ultimately entangles both humans into the plot. The action scenes in this film are decent enough. The fight scenes are very well done, especially because when these giant mechanical machines are battling each other, you can actually see what's going on for a change. A lot of the time in the Michael Bay directed Transformers movies, the action was too fast, too frenetic, and way too up close. You could barely distinguish between an Autobot and a Decepticon. But in this film, the cinematography is much clearer, and fights are far better choreographed. The Autobots intend to use the transwarp key to get back to their planet after being stranded on Earth for 7 years. Mirage suggests that Noah help them by breaking into the museum and stealing the key for them. Meantime, Unicron's henchmen, including Scourge, arrive on Earth to track down the key for themselves. Just as the good guys are about to be defeated by Scourge and Unicron's other Terracon minions, the Maximals show up and the action moves to Peru. Turns out the Maximals split the key into 2 pieces, so Unicron only has half of it. So they hope to find it in some temple in Peru, and that's where the Autobots and Maximals meet up and hatch a plan to stop Unicron. I will say that this version of Optimus Prime in the film isn't especially likable. He's a bit of a hard ass this time round. The justification is that he's still angry with himself for stranding the Autobots on Earth. I think the film is well paced and put together, but the story is ultimately fairly generic. I mean, what can we really expect from a Transformers film after all? But the search for a MacGuffin to save the world, it's not exactly super original. Insert plenty of CGI action along the way and a few light-hearted tension-breaking moments, and you've got a stock standard enough summer action movie suitable for this particular genre. I think if this film had come out 10-15 years ago, it would have been generally very well received, but this kind of formula has been done several times, especially in this particular franchise, that there's really not a whole lot of originality or uniqueness about the film. In addition, the film is packed with a lot of exposition. In between action set pieces, the characters will have long conversations explaining what's going on and what the characters have to do next, so that the audience are never lost in the story, but it happens a little too frequently. The plot is extremely simple and, like I say, generic and familiar. This level of recapping and explaining is really not necessary, and the audience is already way ahead of most of the characters anyway, which is never a good thing. We all know where this is leading, a big final showdown. The final battle takes place in a large open landscape that's very dull, greyish in terms of colour palette. It reminded me of the end battle from Endgame, where they battle Thanos. Anyway, big spoiler for the ending, there's a tie-in to the G.I. Joe franchise teased for the next installment. Rise of the Beasts has taken the top spot of the US box office, beating Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, which really doesn't surprise me actually. As much as some people may be surprised that there's still interest left in Transformers films, I'm not. Though The Last Knight made only $605 million at the worldwide box office, Dark of the Moon and Age of Extinction both made over $1 billion each. So the interest is there if the film is good. I can't say if this film is going to hit those kinds of numbers. In fact, I suspect it won't. But Rise of the Beasts is a family-friendly film. It's not great, but it doesn't do too much wrong. Kids will probably enjoy it. Longtime Transformers fans will appreciate that the Autobots actually look much more like they did in the cartoons. I think the nostalgia factor is certainly important. The fight sequences are easier to follow, like I say, especially when compared to the Bayverse movies. But the film feels very paint by numbers. In fact, I can't remember the last time I watched a film that was this, Hollywood action movie cookie cutter and formulaic. Rise of the Beasts is just utterly underwhelming. And the best I can say about it, other than what I've already said, is that it's not among the worst films I've ever seen. It is just absolutely middle of the road. So that about does it for my review. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.